Good afternoon, Rotarians, guests, and those that are joining us via Zoom. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. Now would be a great time to check in on your social media and let all your friends and coworkers know where you are today. And then after you do that, please silence your phones, but keep them handy in case you hear our speaker, Justin, give you some good tips or give us some good advice and what the secret sauce is for Chick-fil-A. Today we have Dylan Orwig that will be giving our reflection, and Raina Dawson will be leading us in our pledge, and it'd be great if they could join me here at the podium.
When asked to do the reflection, I struggled a little bit, and then I was getting coffee one morning, and my wife has a saying right next to our coffee pot, and I think it's extremely relevant. It's by Mother Teresa, and it's anyway. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish motives. Be kind anyways. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyways. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyways. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyways. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyways. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the best you've got anyways. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyways. The 5 key takeaways of this are persevere, do your best, trust the process, act according to your values, and don't worry about what others think.
This isn't terrifying at all. I've said it a million times, but I've never let it, so. All right, let's go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan, Raina. Impact Employment Solutions is our November meeting sponsor, so thank you, Rotarian Gary Murphy. And Mary Mancini is our green sponsor this month. Thank you, Mary. If anyone has any guests to introduce, could you please bring them to the floor mic and introduce them, please?
Good morning. I brought Jessica Bauman, the Director of Sales for the Toledo Blade, with me today.
Thank you. Welcome, Jessica.
Good morning. I brought Andy Hayden with Mutual of America with me.
Great. Welcome, Andy.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce the mayor of the great city of Waterville, Tim Pedro.
All right. Welcome, Tim. Thank you, everyone. Are there any visiting Rotarians in today? Nope. All righty. Well, some of you may have seen a clip on Toledo Now on Fox 36 recently, and thanks to past President Alex Dew, who had an idea and connected us with Emily Brown, we were able to share the successes of our club and also our 110th anniversary with the community at large. Without further ado, let's take a look at it right now.
Service over self. This is the mission of the Rotary Club of Toledo, the 10th largest Rotary Club in the world. This year they're celebrating their 110th anniversary of fellowship, professional enrichment, and service to those less fortunate in our community. And they'll continue this legacy for generations to come with the help of fellow leaders like you.
Rotary is all about friendship and fellowship. The leaders of the city, the larger companies in our area, even nonprofits, smaller companies, it's all about engaging with them, learning from them, doing service projects in the community, and we also give out over $200,000 a year in grant money for different projects and programs.
What type of projects and programs are you guys focused on this year?
We're doing a zoo day for the kids that go to Glendale Fieldbach. It was a school that Rotary was very involved in creating, and it's a school that started out mostly for the disabled. So we'll take them to the zoo. We also partner with the St. Francis students as well for this project, and it's just things like that, trying to get the members involved and seeing, how you feel good by doing good for others.
You guys are considered one of the largest in the world. How are you guys upholding to that status?
What we're doing mostly is really trying to focus on the member, trying to encourage them to come to the meetings like we're having here today. We're holding other events such as happy hours once a month, Coffee Connection. It's a lot of networking, and you get to pick people that are super successful in their area of expertise, pick their brain, and just constantly be learning. We try to bring in great speakers so that we can be in the know of what's happening in our community. We are also looking for emerging leaders, so people that are new in their positions or roles and really just want to grow and be of service to the community, and just grow as a professional as well. Most people that join say that they really want to get involved because they want to do service projects. They want it in the community. And you really just need to make sure that you have the time, available to do that. In order to really get a benefit out of being a Rotarian, you need to be engaged. So attend the meeting, attend to, a happy hour, attend a service project, attend some of the big events that we have. If you are wanting to be more knowledgeable about what's happening in the community, to rub elbows with people that are movers and shakers in the area, our motto is service above self, so always putting others before yourself.
I'm Emily, and this is Toledo Now.
So, many thanks to past President Alex for coordinating this. And we'll try to get it shared on our social media as well, so we can get the most out of this and all that you guys are doing in the community. And while we're talking about past President Alex, I'd like to ask him to come up to the podium to tell us a bit more about the coat drive that the Community Service Committee is supporting.
Okay, who can guess what I have in these bags? You guys are brilliant. So we have joined up with Designetics, Oswald. There's like 5 or 6 different companies, and we're buying coats. We're buying new coats. We're putting them in a box, and then we're dropping them off somewhere.
Laura Dosh
Okay.
is going to be picking them
Well,
up.
somebody else is dropping them off. So anyway, please buy coats. They're not expensive, especially at this place. You can get them marked down for the cause. That's all I have.
A couple things to add to that. These coats are for the kids that participate in the Boys and Girls Club. So you know that they are in need of coats for this winter. And also that Designetics is matching the number of coats that are captured for this project. So not just from ours, but from the amount that is caught everywhere, or obtained everywhere. So please, for the next meeting, which is December 5th, please get out and shop a little bit, or grab an extra coat while you're doing your Christmas shopping and bring it in with you to the meeting on the 5th. Thank you, Alex. And today I'd like to honor some individuals who have big anniversaries as Rotarians. If you're here, if you could please stand, that would be great. Celebrating 20 years as Toledo Rotarian is Mike Anderson, Rick Arnos, Riaz Chaudhry, Eric Frankhauser, and Mary Mancini. 30 years, we have Steve Boyce, Ed Duravage, and Tom Walton. And 40 plus years, we have Walt Churchill, Dave Effler, Reg Jackson, and Chuck Schaub. I don't see any of them here, but let's still give them a round of applause. This weekend, we had the privilege of partnering with District 6600 and various other Rotary clubs and organizations to host the Peace Conference at the UT College of Law Center. The event was a great success with many important messages to be heard throughout the day. And at this time, I'd like you to direct your attention to the screen for a quick recap.
There has not been a time, well, in my lifetime, where we've been so polarized as a country. But isn't that the job of Rotary, to bring folks together?
So the most generous people in this world are people of faith and Rotarians. And that as you give here to Rotary, you are the ones also giving someone. Without a doubt, the people sitting here this morning are giving to several people, and some of those people may be other family members who just not as fortunate as yourself. And I think we just don't tell that narrative enough.
We can talk about gun control. We can talk about anything. Ask a kid. I ask them all the time in the courtroom, why'd you have that gun? Because I was frightened. Because somebody's out to get my brother, and so I'm carrying the gun just in case. Because I feel safe when I'm carrying a gun. So the real question is, how do we make these kids feel safe? What can I do as the juvenile court judge to help these kids feel safe so they don't have a gun?
I think there's a flaw in police training. I think that it is utterly ridiculous that it takes a hairdresser 18 months to get a degree to put a perm in my hair, and you train a police officer in 6 months. I think it's ridiculous that 90% of the training of police officers deal with what they're going to deal with 10% of the time, and 10% of the training of police officers is what they deal with 90% of the time when they get out on the street.
See, the dynamic has changed. These parents are endorsing and fueling the fire. And so you couple that with poor conflict resolution skills, you have a perfect storm. And so I think some of it is, one, recognizing, okay, they're probably not going to get what they need at home. Probably not going to happen. That ship has already left the dock. But maybe we can teach these kids how to deal with conflict. And just maybe it might sink in. And just maybe they use it in this situation and it saves their life or somebody else's.
It's not this us and them. Instead, it's my kids are killing my kids. And my neighbors are getting killed by my neighbors. And so that was a transition in my own heart. I used to be able to keep it at arm's length. And then I began to see my kids are killing my kids. It became much more personal.
We all have friends. All of us. One of us that doesn't. And when you recognize that, you have to stay so mindful that on an everyday basis you're working to mitigate.
You come across people sometimes that don't think like you, or don't feel like you, or don't believe in the things that you believe in. But when you're tasked with something that is meaningful, it helps to be able to kind of put those things aside and find something that makes us human, that connects us. When we opened our doors and we said things like, we're not here to judge you, we're not here to criticize you, but what we are here to do is to meet you where you're at in this journey. And I think that was the biggest key, is to meet someone where they're at, even if you don't understand it.
And in sports and lots of other areas in music, how many of those musicians have quite different backgrounds from one another, but they share the principles of how to make harmony together, which is pretty cool. Same is true in sports. So, but in the world of service organization like Rotary, we find that objective in doing things like, well, Rotary has 7 priorities, and they turn me on. I love the world of Rotary. It's pretty cool stuff that they're doing, and the nice part about it is they do it without trying to pat themselves on the back.
We want to go from diversity to actual equity and inclusion. Diversity is a jar of peanut M&Ms, red ones, yellow ones, green ones, blue ones. So that's how we are right now in our Rotary Club. We're diverse, but what we want to become is inclusive and equitable.
I'd like to thank Kevin Mullen for recapping that. He did get footage of all the presenters of that day, and we'll be putting something together which we'll share on our website, and I'm sure many, many more times. And as you can see, there was a lot of powerful messages and tough conversations, which was really great. Many of you were there at the event, and I hope that you share what your takeaway was with your fellow Rotarians. And then I also am very grateful for the hard work of the Peace Subcommittee Chair, Kurt Church, who did a fabulous job, and Board Member Heather Carnes, who helped us secure the location and worked out many of the logistics. And as you can tell, we had many of our fellow Rotarians involved. Lisa McDuffie not only was a panelist, but she also helped share the cost with the YWCA for the gifts and assisted Kurt in securing all the speakers for the breakout sessions. Judy Leb, Maria White, and Chuck Stocking were panelists also. And as I mentioned, Kevin helped secure the individual to record all the breakouts. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Scott Hinshaw, who helped set up and tear down, and then there's many more, and obviously Jackie, who was a gem throughout the whole process, kind of helping us pave the way. So I hope you take a minute once this is up on the website and check it out in full. In the spirit of Thanksgiving and sharing what we are thankful for, I'd like to start by thanking our librarian staff who has made our stay here so great. So Cassidy Lape Wood, Kathy Selking, and Jason Kuzma, and also the Michaels Catering staff, as well as Matt Atkins and Dominic Jerome, who help us out on the AV each week. So if we could give them a round of applause, I would appreciate it. Are there any members that might want to come to the floor mic to share anything that they're extra thankful for this year? You guys are all shy. I thought I'd try. All right. Our holiday party's on Friday, December 2nd at 20 North Gallery downtown. We'd like to thank Donna Bogan and Hartman Bogan Financial Planning for generously sponsoring the party. And if you have not RSVP'd yet, you can do so on the website or via the Zoom. So we hope to see you all there. The numbers are good so far, but we can always take more. And now, what you've all been waiting for, could Sierra Hutton please come up to the microphone and welcome or introduce our guest speaker, Justin Amburgey.
Hi everybody, happy Monday. I am super excited to introduce Justin, who's the owner and operator of Chick-fil-A Airport Highway and Chick-fil-A Central McCord in Toledo. Justin started his career with Chick-fil-A as a team member at a Chick-fil-A restaurant 13 years ago. Some highlights of his career include leading the company in sales growth in 2016, as well as becoming the youngest operator to be awarded a Chick-fil-A. The drive-thru at Justin's airport location is consistently rated as one of the best drive-thrus in the company. Justin was born and raised in Middletown and is a graduate of Clemson University as well as Seminary. Justin and his wife, Rebecca, moved to Toledo 10 years ago with the hope of growing Chick-fil-A in our city. And here's where it gets real crazy. This still throws me for a loop. Justin and his wife currently reside in Sylvania with 5 sons, the oldest of whom is 10. When he is not busy selling chicken, Justin spends most of his time trying to keep his 5 sons fed, happy, and occupied. And before I end, I have to say the Chick-fil-A on Airport Highway was the first Chick-fil-A I ever had. Created a really bad obsession because where I grew up, we didn't have Chick-fil-A at the time. Thanks for that. Really appreciate it. So does my wallet. But we are very happy to have you.
Thank you, Sierra. Just to get one thing correct, I wasn't the youngest ever to have a Chick-fil-A. I was the youngest to have the second location, so I was not the youngest. Jim might have been the youngest. Jim over here used to be an operator. I don't know how young you were, but there were people back in the day that were getting Chick-fil-A's at 18 or 19. But thank you for having me today. Like Sierra said, my name's Justin Amburgey. It's always humbling to think that people would want to hear what I have to say about our fried chicken restaurant. I want to begin with a question. Let me see a show of hands here. Is there anyone in the room who has never eaten at a Chick-fil-A before? Anyone? Oh my goodness. Okay, great. I have some things here for you afterwards. I was told do not, you're okay, okay. Well, we can talk afterwards. I was told not to wander away from the podium. You haven't? Okay, great. Come see me afterwards. Come see me. I knew I liked this room. But my hope is for those of you that have eaten there, that when you eat there, if you've eaten there in the past or just when you drive by, that you would think there's just something different about Chick-fil-A. One of my favorite things about being a Chick-fil-A operator is hearing the stories that our guests tell me. And I want to share my favorite story ever with you. I was at the University of Toledo a couple years ago doing some recruiting, and this professor walks up to me, and she comes up, and I had my Chick-fil-A name tag on, and she says, "Oh my gosh, are you with Chick-fil-A?" I'm like, "Well, yes." And she goes, "I love Chick-fil-A." I'm like, "Well, thank you. What is it you love about Chick-fil-A?" And then she told me this story. She said, one day she was at the Franklin Park Mall doing some shopping, and one of her good friends was in the hospital in Cleveland facing a battle with cancer. And so this professor, she was at the mall, she saw Chick-fil-A, and her friend who had cancer, her favorite restaurant happened to be Chick-fil-A. So this professor went up to the register at the Chick-fil-A in the mall, and it just so happened there was a store manager working the register that day. And so he started engaging the professor as she was buying the gift card, and she told him the reason she was buying the gift card. It was so she was on her way to Cleveland to go visit her friend in the hospital, and she was going to give the gift card to her family so that they could have a Chick-fil-A meal on her in the hospital. And so she got the gift card and left, and what happened next was, I think is incredible. The manager, he got the lady's information, and after the professor left, the manager went back to the office, got on the phone, and he called the closest Chick-fil-A in Cleveland to that hospital where this lady's friend was staying. And he told them the story and gave them the lady's name. And that Chick-fil-A in Cleveland, they got some team members together. They called the hospital. They found the lady's room. They put together a catered meal for the family. They sent a Chick-fil-A team to the lady's hospital room with the Chick-fil-A cow, with balloons, and they threw her this Chick-fil-A party. And then with, of course, tears in her eyes, the professor said that was one of the last happy moments that her friend and her family had together on earth. And I think we're a fast food restaurant, but there's just something different about Chick-fil-A. So what is it? What is this difference? That's what I want to share with you today. This is our secret sauce, if you will. I don't actually have the recipe to the secret sauce, but I can leave you, and I want to share this with you. At Chick-fil-A, we're laser-like focused on one mission, one idea, one concept, one word, and the word is this. The word is care. It's care. So if you think about some other companies, there's a lot of companies that are focused on certain words. Disney's been in the news recently with their change in leadership. If you think about Disney, anyone know what word Disney wants to be known for, what word they focus on? Say what? Not quite happy, it's magic. They want to be the most magical place on earth. Coke is actually happy, so Coke talks about happiness. We want to sell happiness. Well, at Chick-fil-A for us, that's care. We're so into this word, so obsessed with it, it's become our very mission as an organization. At Chick-fil-A, we say this: we want to be the world's most caring company. We want to be so caring to you when we come through that we literally inspire you to take good care of the people around you because of the service that you had when you came to Chick-fil-A. And then how do we become the world's most caring company? We do it by what we call winning hearts every day, which is our business strategy, which I'll get to here in a little bit. So we want to be the world's most caring company, and this has been our mission now for probably the last 5 or 6 years, and it's actually led to a lot of success for us, focusing on care and customer service. Here's some headlines you can see. If you go to the right-hand column in the middle, it says, Chick-fil-A is now the 3rd largest restaurant chain in America, and McDonald's and Starbucks should be terrified. I love it when McDonald's is terrified. Interesting fact here, so we're the 3rd largest in sales behind those two. They each have over 14,000 locations in the United States. We have about 2,600, and we're catching them, which is crazy. Some of these other headlines are great. Every chain from McDonald's to Buffalo Wild Wings wants to be Chick-fil-A. We've been ranked first in customer satisfaction for restaurants for like the last 7 years. Our sales show a lot, so this blows my mind every time I see it, actually. The average Chick-fil-A restaurant this year will do about $8 million in sales. Our next closest competitor is the M word. I don't like to say the word very much. And they average about $3.5 million in sales. And we're only open 6 days a week. And a lot of them are open 7 days a week, sometimes 24 hours. This is, don't get your hopes up. I know some of you are getting your hopes up. This is not the latest results to the election that just happened. This is Business Insider did a study of America's favorite fast food restaurant by state, and the clear winner is Chick-fil-A, right? North Dakota and Alaska. I don't know what's wrong with North Dakota and Alaska. They need to get their act together. But so, point being, this focus on care, this focus on customer service has led to a lot of success for us. Now, the question I get a lot is, how do you get your people to care so much? How do you get a high school student to smile and look me in the eye and say, my pleasure? Is it the way you recruit? Is there some just magic place where you recruit happy, smiley people? Is it your training? Is it the process? Do you just pay a lot more money than other restaurants? And it's a little bit of all those things. But fundamentally, and this is what I want to emphasize today, what I think we do well with at Chick-fil-A is we try to get our team to understand our why. We really try hard to get them to understand why we are in business. Simon Sinek, a lot of you have probably read some of his books. His famous one is called Start With Why. He has a great quote in there. He says this: people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. Team members now, more than ever, especially Gen Z, want to be part of an organization where they believe in the purpose behind it. And so for us, you can't begin to understand our purpose or why without understanding some of the life and legacy of our founder. Now, for more free chicken, can anyone raise their hand and tell me, Jim, you don't count, who the founder of Chick-fil-A was? Anyone know? Close. He's the son of the founder. Truett Cathy, very good. So a man named Truett Cathy, he founded Chick-fil-A. So he founded his first restaurant. It was called the Dwarf House Grill. Politically incorrect now, I know. It was called that because it was a very small restaurant, and it was actually a house that he turned into a restaurant. Started the Dwarf House Grill in 1946 in Atlanta, Georgia. Actually did not start the first Chick-fil-A until 1967, but then ended up leading Chick-fil-A until 2013, which was the year before he died. So he was 90 years old leading this multi-billion-dollar business. Really an amazing man. I'm going to show a 90-second video here that'll give you a little bit more insight into the kind of man he was.
A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1. S. Truett Cathy. A larger-than-life character who flourished from despair and lived his life to inspire and enable others to do the same. He was the embodiment of humility and patience, service and grace. A good name indeed. Born during the Depression, Truett learned the value of hard work and customer service at a very young age. He was a true entrepreneur, not just a business owner. today his ideas, ideals, and legacy live on through his cherished family, friends, and business. He was the inventor of the chicken sandwich, but known for so much more. Truett gave millions of dollars to allow students to attend college and campers to experience the summer of a lifetime. He established dozens of foster homes and countless philanthropies. He was a remarkable man, husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and friend. Today, we celebrate the life and legacy of Truett Cathy. Thank you, Truett.
It's been my pleasure.
So hopefully you can see a little bit from the short video. I mean, he was an amazing man that lived an amazing life. So in his over 4 decades of leadership with Chick-fil-A, he did a lot of great things, but really the most meaningful thing he did was come up and live out our corporate purpose. So at Chick-fil-A, we say this: Truett came up with this. Here's why we're in business: to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us, and to have a positive impact on all who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. So there's a few things I love about this. First of all, what's it say about chicken sandwiches? Nothing. Waffle fries? Nothing. Chick-fil-A sauce? Nothing. It's just all about here's who we are, here's why we exist, here is who we want to be. The second thing I love about it, Truett was such an authentic leader. He lived this out every single day of his life at the company. Jim was just sharing with me when he was an operator, when you would go down to training in Atlanta, Truett would have you over to his house regularly, right? Every Sunday dinner. I mean, that's just the kind of person he was. Super warm, super hospitable. Lived it out. A few ways he lived it out. First of all, glorify God. We're closed on Sunday. Yes, Truett's faith was very important to him. And so he said, well, if I would like to go worship, I would like to have other people to have the opportunity to go worship. So he closed on Sunday. And a lot of people thought that was a really dumb business decision, right? Because you're losing a lot of revenue. But he would always say that's the best decision I ever made. Because from day one, it said we're going to be a company that puts people over profits, that does not live for the almighty dollar. And he would always say the reason we're so much better than our competition on Monday is because we're closed on Sunday. Put his money where his mouth was. Another way he did that, he was just super passionate about this whole idea of serving others. So I got to meet Truett a few times. When I first became an operator, got to go down to our home office in Atlanta, Georgia. And tradition was you got to spend some time one-on-one with Truett. So that was his last year leading Chick-fil-A. It was at the very end of his life. He looked just like he did at the end of that video. And I was a 30-year-old young man and super nervous that I was going to walk into Truett's office. I don't know what I'm going to say. Is he going to quiz me on profit and loss statements and numbers? And I just kind of tied up on the inside. And I walked in, and on his desk, he always kept this stack of 12-inch rulers. And he said, Justin, have a seat. So I sat down, and he said, pick up a ruler. And so I picked up a ruler, and the ruler said this: do unto others as you would have others do unto you. You guys heard that before? Yeah, it's called the golden rule. So for the next 15, 20 minutes, all Truett talked to me about was, hey, as you go to Toledo and start your business, there's a lot you could be focusing on. Training, finances, all these things, marketing, but keep the main thing the main thing. If you treat your team like you want to be treated, and you treat your guests like you want to be treated, you'll be successful. Good advice, right? And he lived this out. There's so many Truett stories. One of my favorite, I was at a training in Atlanta a few years back, and Truett had just passed away. And we were at tables just like this. It was a bunch of operators like myself, and they said, hey, if you ever got to meet Truett, just amongst your tables, just tell some stories of what it was like hanging out with Truett. And so we're all telling our stories, and then a few people that had great stories got to stand up and speak in front of the group at the end. And this one operator shared this. He said he grew up in a home, the family didn't have a lot of money, and they had 7 children, lived in a very tiny 3-bedroom, 1-bath home. And when this operator was 13 years old, his parents started going to go to church. Kid didn't want to go to church. He ends up in this Sunday school, and the Sunday school teacher was a man named Truett Cathy. So Truett's this guy's Sunday school teacher, and over the course of a year, Truett gets to know this young man and his family, and then I don't know how it all transpired, but one day after church, Truett came up to the guy's family and approached his father and said, "Hey, I've really loved just getting to know you and your family. My wife and I, we have this extra house. It's on 5 acres of land, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and we just want to give it to somebody, and we'd love your family to have it." Isn't that amazing? He gave the guy the house. And so the operator just shared the story of he spent the rest of his childhood years growing up on this house Truett gave him. I mean, that's just the kind of person the man was. And all of that just flows out into the experience we give our guests at Chick-fil-A. So one thing you would always say, people would always ask, hey, do you have to be a person of faith to own a Chick-fil-A or to work at a Chick-fil-A? And the way Truett would answer, he would say, absolutely not, but you better act like one. Meaning, you better treat people with honor, dignity, and respect. So for me, it was this purpose, this mission that drew me to Chick-fil-A. So I actually started Chick-fil-A when I was 28 years old. I had just graduated from seminary. I thought I was going to be a pastor, and the economy crashed. This is 2008. No churches were hiring. So I was always good in school, so I applied to medical school, got accepted. So we moved down to Charleston, South Carolina, because I was going to go to med school down there. So I was about 3 months away from starting medical school, and again, the economy was terrible. My wife could not find a job, so she responded to this ad on Craigslist, which now is like, no one gets, it's super sketchy. Don't get on Craigslist. But it was an ad advertising, just come work at Chick-fil-A. So she started working at Chick-fil-A. She was 28 years old with a master's degree, super accomplished. She ran track at Clemson. She's working at a fast food restaurant. And I'm like, you are crazy. Like, why are you working at a fast food restaurant? But she would come home every day and like it. And so she begged me and then eventually convinced me to work there for the summer as a part-time job before med school started. So I started working there, and I got in there and I was like, man, there's just something different about this place. And I began to love it. I fell in love with the mission. I fell in love with this whole idea of continuous improvement and pursuing excellence. I was like, would it be crazy to not go to med school and to try to pursue Chick-fil-A as a career? And so we discussed it. My wife and I prayed about it for a few months. And then mid-July that year, this is 2009, I called up the dean of the med school. And I was like, hey, I'm withdrawing from the class. He's like, what are you talking about? What are you going to do? I was like, well, I'm working at Chick-fil-A. What else are you going to do? I thought that was going to be a difficult conversation. The really difficult conversation was when I had to call my mother-in-law and tell her that I was not going to be a doctor and that I was working at Chick-fil-A for $12 an hour. But it all worked out. Mother-in-law is very happy now. But my point in all this is this. Purpose is powerful. Okay? And as the leader of my organization, the most impactful thing I can do from day one is to get my team to understand our purpose and why we do business and get them bought in around that. Because at Chick-fil-A, we don't want just team members. We don't want just people that want a paycheck. We want people that are keepers and carriers of this vision that Truett started. So I'd ask you guys that. How are you telling the story of your organization to your team? How are you orienting new team members around the mission and instilling them with a sense of purpose and history? Because that's what they want. People want to be part of an organization with a strong why. So that's a little bit about our purpose. I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about our process, how we do business. Oh, this is a great quote, and talking about team members. Aim for their hearts and you'll get their hands. Aim for their hands and you'll get neither. So from day one, we want to aim for their hearts to get them bought in. So creating a culture of care, you got to have purpose. We've talked about that. Secondly, you got to have care in your processes. So here's what we like to say at Chick-fil-A. To have a caring experience for a guest, it takes two things. It takes competence and warmth. So competence answers the question, what do our customers want? And then warmth answers the question, how do we want our customers to feel? And you got to do both. Competence without warmth can lead to suspicion on behalf of your guests. Warmth without competence can lead to sympathy. I think a great example of this for me is it's approaching holiday season. You guys all remember Toys R Us, right? I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us. I hear that song, I'm like, oh man, like my childhood. But Toys R Us just like isn't around anymore, right? I have warm fuzzies. They're bringing it back? Okay, news to me, they're coming back. My heart's warm again. Point being, I felt very warm and fuzzy, but they just didn't do great at their core business, no competence, so they went out of business. So warmth plus care. So here's what we say at Chick-fil-A. We want to be the world's most caring company by winning hearts every day. So winning hearts is our business strategy. It is our competence play. And it really just answers this question. What do our customers want? And here's what we think they want. We're a restaurant. It's not rocket science. We want a clean and safe environment, because if we're not safe, then you get in the news and people don't come and you hurt people and all this stuff. Airport Highway, the health inspector came last week and we had 0 violations. Very proud about that. So we have a clean and safe environment. We got to serve great food. Another interesting fact that you may not know, at Chick-fil-A, all of our chicken comes raw. So we hand bread every piece of chicken, including the nuggets. Nuggets are just cut up chicken breasts. We hand bread them raw. So got to have great food, got to have fast and accurate service, and then we need genuine hospitality. We believe if we do these 4 things really well every day, our business will grow. Let me go back here. So Truett Cathy, he would always say, if we get better, our customers will demand we get bigger. So an example of this, so through all of Chick-fil-A's studies, they've said that fast and accurate service is the thing our customers want most. So for us at Airport Highway, there was a point, it was probably about 7 years ago, where we were just stuck in terms of we could not get more people through in the drive-thru. We were stuck at about 160 cars an hour, which is about 1 car pulling off every 22 seconds-ish. And then if you've been there recently, or in the past few years, you've seen we're out there with iPads now, right? Everyone see the iPads out? So once we put the iPads out, we got that down to 220 cars, which is like 1 car every 16-ish seconds, which is amazing in an hour. And then COVID happened, and we had to get like really good about rethinking the drive-thru play. And our record at Airport Highway during COVID was in 1 hour one day, we put through 295 cars in 1 hour, which is 1 car pulling off every 12.5 seconds or something like that. But point being, how many people? Putting through those numbers, around 50 total. Yeah, lots of people on a shift. But point being, you get competent at your core business, your customers feel cared for. Do we win people's hearts? I think you guys have probably heard of Jordan Strack before, WTOL sportscaster. But he came through and he tweeted this out one day. He said, I'm in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru on Airport. There are easily 20 cars. Easily, I was through in 4 minutes. 4. They had like 6 people handing out orders, directing traffic, handing out receipts. The kid told me they got 212 cars through in 1 hour the other day. That's like mind blown meme. Did we win his heart? Yeah, won his heart. This is probably one of my favorite reviews ever. I don't know if you can read it. Teresa Shunk. She basically said, well, she says, I landed right at lunchtime during COVID. The drive-thru was packed out. This was the fastest drive-thru experience in the history of man. Did we win Teresa Shunk's heart? Yeah, I think we did. So that's our competency play. Clean and safe, great food, fast and accurate, genuine hospitality. This here is what we call our warmth play. How do we want our customers to feel? We want them to feel cared for. How do we make them feel cared for? Here's the first thing we train every team member at Chick-fil-A. I teach this to them myself at orientation. It's called the first mile, the core 4. Everyone get your hands ready and repeat after me, okay? Create eye contact. Share a smile. speak with a friendly tone, and always say my pleasure. Good. You guys are all hired. Good job. So that's what we teach people. But if you go into other restaurants, you walk in sometimes, you can't even find a human being to take your order, right? We want our guests to walk in and they see team members, look them in the eye, smiling, friendly, and saying my pleasure. And then we say we want to go the second mile. So this comes straight from Truett Cathy and comes from his beliefs. So in the New Testament, Jesus said if someone asks you to go with him 1 mile, you need to go with him 2 miles. Very good. The context of that is really interesting. So back in biblical times, a Roman soldier, by law, could ask any citizen to carry their stuff for 1 mile. And if you were a citizen, you had to. So now imagine if you're a Roman soldier and you ask a random citizen to carry your stuff, and they carry it the mile, and then when the mile is up, they keep walking with you. If you're the Roman soldier, what are you thinking about this citizen? Nice guy, right? You're probably asking, why are you doing this? And that's the way we want our guests to feel. So we've clarified some behaviors that we believe go the second mile. If you've ever eaten in one of our restaurants, hopefully you've noticed that we walk around and we refresh your beverage. Okay, and the language we use is very intentional. We don't say, can I get a refill? You need a refill. It's refresh your beverage, because that's more elevated. We will walk around and clear your tray. It's not, are you done with that? Can I take your trash? May I clear your tray? We'll have team members, if you're walking in and they're on register and no one's there, they run to the door and hold the door open for you. We have umbrellas to where when it's raining or snowing, team members walk out to guest cars and walk them in with umbrellas, or walk them back out to their car with umbrellas. If you have a large order, we want to offer to carry it to your car for you, not just be like, here you go. So we have all these behaviors we've built in that we believe go the second mile, so that you're coming to a quick service restaurant, but hopefully getting a 5-star fine dining experience. And serving people in that way wins their hearts. I'm going to skip over this quote for the sake of time, but here's one of my favorite guest comments over the years we've had. This guest said, I picked up a very large order and the young man insisted on carrying my order to the car for me. And on the way out, we came about talking about how I had spent the week at the hospital with my 20-year-old autistic nephew who was diagnosed a month ago with late-stage testicular cancer. The employee asked me if he could share a prayer for my nephew, and once he put the food in my car, he grabbed my hands and said a very nice prayer for Jared. It brought me to tears. It was exactly what I needed tonight after a very long, stressful, emotional day. I don't think I could love your restaurant anymore. Did the guests feel cared for? Yes. This was like an 18-year-old high school dude that I actually recruited. I was working out at the Y one day, and he was in the gym, and he was like working hard, and I was like, man, you look like you'd be a really good Chick-fil-A employee. So he came to work with us, and then he ends up doing this stuff because he was bought into the purpose. Now, we don't teach people to pray for our customers. Point is, we're trying to create an environment where people feel like they can serve people above and beyond, and that's what this young man did that day. Certainly won the customer's heart. So I'm going to close here by showing you this video that we showed all our new team members. It's good. I love the tagline. Every life has a story if you only take the time to read it. So we sell $4 chicken sandwiches. Well, now they're almost $5 chicken sandwiches. I keep forgetting that. We sell almost $5 chicken sandwiches now. A lot of you guys are education, healthcare, finance, business leadership. I mean, if we can attempt to do it selling chicken sandwiches, how much more can you guys do it in your fields? And that's what I'll leave with you. I'll leave you with Truett Cathy. He would always say this: take good care. I'll leave that with you. So take good care. Take good care of yourself, your family, your friends, your workers, clients. And that's Chick-fil-A's secret sauce. So I think I might have ended a little late here, so I don't know how much question time there is.
Should I just speak? Oh, there we go. So in my professional career, I helped to lead the National Museum of the Great Lakes. There's so much I learned from this presentation, but I did not come here to hear the secret sauce. I actually came here because I wanted to see the man who my son spent Wednesday nights at Young Life for. So he has 5 kids, 10 and younger, and has high school kids to his house once a week. For a program. My son's 2 favorite things in life are sports and friends, and the fact that you can get them to your house even a couple times a month, beyond me. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah. So what she's referencing, so we actually have a senior in high school living with us this year. It's kind of an interesting situation. But so we have this, if you've heard of Young Life, it's a high school ministry in town. So yeah, we have like 50 high school students for house every Wednesday night. It was really fun. They're having Friendsgiving there tonight.
Justin, Kerr Church, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
2 quick stories. First, my daughter worked for you. She's now living in Steamboat Springs in Colorado, and works in a restaurant and using the principles that you've taught her. Second, early on in your career here, my wife came to your restaurant, forgot her wallet. You were so kind enough to give her her food for free. I then came back later and tried to pay you. You wouldn't let me, and I went on my way. Thank you very much for that. You show exactly what you wrote in your slides.
Thank you very much. So appreciate it.
That was a great presentation, and I hope that I can take at least half of that back and try to implement that in our business. On behalf of the Rotary, I'd like to give you this book, Historical Tales of Toledo, written by one of our past presidents, Clint Mock. And we also will be making a donation to the Polio Plus Fund in your name. And I just have to say, it is our pleasure to have you here with us today. At this time, I'd like to invite past President Chuck Mann up for today's chuckle.
Is he going to do a chicken joke? No, he's not going to do a chicken joke. Going to do cow joke. Also fits with the Justin's there. What do you call a mother cow who has just given birth? Ooh. Oh. That's the answer is decaffeinated. Thank you, Ed. Don't get in the habit of that. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. What did the mother cow say to the baby cow? It's past your bedtime. Why do cows have hooves instead of feet? Because they lack toes. You should be writing these down and telling them on Thursday. Why did the cow jump over the moon? Because the farmer had cold hands. And finally, a farmer walks into his barn with a milking bucket. He starts to milk his cow when a pesky fly continues to buzz around the cow's head. Suddenly, the fly goes straight into the cow's ear. The farmer doesn't think much of it, but continues milking when suddenly it shoots out into the bucket. The farmer freaked out and exclaimed, "It went in one ear and out the other." Okay, good.
Thank you, Chuck. There is no meeting on next Monday, November 28th, in celebration or in honor of Thanksgiving. Please, everyone, enjoy the long weekend celebrating your family and friends. And we'll be back here at the main library on Monday, December 5th, at which time Brian Kennedy, the foundation chair, will be joining us for Foundation Day. There are no committee meetings today. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, and our meeting is adjourned.